was one of those times that it's happening, but you don't really believe it's happening.
Like one of the worst horror movies you'd ever see, I guess you could say.
We just surrounded one another with prayer and just took it one day and sometimes 1 minute at a time.
Our son, who doesn't write emails very often, he wrote us an email and said, "I got bad news." The subject was bad news. And so we read the email, and it turns out his watch had been stolen. 2 days later, you get an email from him with the subject, "Very bad news." And he shares with us that his dorm father, Dave Golding, who we knew from our language study in Burkina Faso, had passed away. Well, then the next day, got a third email from Brett that said, "Very, very bad news." And that was that the school had been overrun, the rebels were surrounding the school, government troops were there, and the fighting was going all around them.
Suddenly, gunshots were over the campus, and I had no clue what was going on. It sounded like they were hitting walls all around you, and it just echoing inside the walls. We all ran back to our dorms, and that was just the scariest time for me. It was just scary.
I made it into my dorm when we first heard the shooting go off and tracers started flying overhead. But it was scary because you could hear all the dorm parents asking where their children were. It's like, "Oh, where's my kids?" And no one could find some of them for a while. So it was scary at some points.
We were sitting underneath of a window downstairs with a blanket up and covering the window. And every now and then we'd hear machine gun shots, just random times, and it sounded like he was going from window to window. And it sounded like he was in the campus, but he really wasn't. But that was also just like one of the worst horror movies you'd ever see, I guess you could say.
We had people singing probably all the hymns known in the hymn book, down the halls trying to keep calm and praying.
I didn't have enough trust in God at that time, and I renewed my relationship with Him during all the fighting and everything.
We first realized that people were praying for us, obviously, because it's a tangible thing. You can feel it, just that people are praying for you, because if in one moment you're all worried or whatever, you don't know what's going to happen. The first day we were all just like, "Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to us?" But then as word got out, like the next day, there was just kind of a peace. Everyone knew that it was, no matter what happened, we were going to be okay. All this stuff, you could just feel it.
No matter how bad the situation is, God is always in control. He can get you out of any situation. He's always watching you. We heard from all around that the French were going to come, but we didn't know when. We were waiting for a couple of days, and finally they came on. It was just an amazing sight. We saw a tank roll onto campus, along with 2 regiments of soldiers. We saw a sniper inside of a window on top of our water tower, just hanging over the walls, a bunch of snipers and machine guns, and just cars all driving around campus with machine guns. And it was just amazing how much they put in and secured the campus so easily.
We really started to realize how God's grace had been on us, because we could have easily died. There were many soldiers all around us who had died during that time, but we had all been protected. None of us had even been hurt in the slightest way, and we made it out. And as we heard about all the people who had been praying for us, it was just amazing.
I felt God's presence when we were down there. I didn't know what He had in store for us, but I felt that He was there and He was gonna make sure that we got out, if not right then or when, but could be a week or so. But I knew God had a plan for all of us.
As a father, I want to protect them. I want to put them in the safe place. But the Lord, He has His plans for my kids that are beyond what I can even imagine. And so I don't know what the Lord has for them, and I don't know why He's allowed them to experience the things that He's experienced, other than the fact that I know that He's in control and that He has done that for a reason, and that He's going to use that in their lives so that they might be more useful to Him in the future.
I just want to say thank you to everybody around the world, in the United States, in every continent around the globe. I just want to say thank you for praying for all of us. We felt your prayers, and I just I want to thank you. May God be with you.